have my computer. So I'll
All right, we're back in regular session. In executive session, the commission discussed legal matters and pending litigation. Want to apologize to the public for the late start from our executive session, which was a lot more lengthy than we anticipated. But nonetheless, we're going to try and get to our agenda as much as we can. Commissioners, if you have time limitations, please let me know so that we can determine how to proceed. The first item on the agenda, the second item is the consent agenda. Who speaks to that? Go ahead. Take your name and speak up, please.
Sorry, Tamar Corey. Commission recommends following for transportation services, number 691, 7,500. And for our last ventures, again, 7,500.
Okay. Are there any objections to consent agenda for transportation services and Varlock venture of $7,500 each? There are none, it is so agreed to. Thank you. Number 3, fiscal year 2026 annual assessment. Who speaks to that?
I think that's going to be me.
Go ahead, Attorney Spain.
We have made it a practice over the last few years to present our annual assessment in August. It is due by the end of September. In order to give the commission more time, we've been presenting it in August. However, this year, we found out last month that in 2024, the end of 2024, the PI legislature passed Act 8919, which amended the provision for the annual assessments imposed by the Public Services Commission to exclude assessments, or excuse me, to exclude appropriations by the legislature from the calculation of gross revenues. In doing so, it significantly changes the assessment that would be imposed on waste management and significantly increases the assessment that would be imposed on all other utilities. It would most dramatically affect WAPA, raising their assessment by more than $200,000. We are looking at that issue at the present time, revisiting those calculations and discussing that with the parties, and we will bring this matter back in September.
What section of that bill was the amendment on?
I believe it's section 11, but I can tell you in just a moment.
Section what, 11?
11.
Any questions for Attorney Spain on that matter? There are none. Move on to item number 4, energy matters, docket 702. Walker Levelized Energy Adjustment Clause. We scheduled for a trial or hearing on WAPA's petition for reconsideration of the commission's order reducing the LEAC from 22.2246 cents per hour to 17 cents per kilowatt hour. I believe there's been some discussion between the parties, and there is a proposed settlement on that matter. I'm going to ask Attorney Spain to put the terms of that settlement on the record, and then ask WAPA to respond, and then we'll have a vote by the commission on that matter. Attorney Spain?
Thank you, Chair. The proposed settlement terms are that the LEAC rate of 22.46, that is 22 cents $0.222246 per kilowatt hour, or 22 cents a kilowatt hour, be maintained through June 30th, 2026. That the PSC staff and WAPA staff will meet within 60 days to define any acceptable changes and definitions for what is to be included within the deferred fuel calculation. If no agreement within 60 days, that matter will be returned to the commission. That the Water Power Authority will eliminate the current accrued deferred fuel balance as of now. And it may accrue additional deferred fuel between now and June 30th, but will be starting from a 0 point.
You say what that amount is?
Well, then,
As of June 30th.
As of June
of next
30th.
year.
as of June 30th, you're eliminating
Any
the
remaining
current
balance.
balance.
So
And
we're not
only this
eliminating
amount will be, only the amount accrued between now and then will be reflected, yes. It's essentially the same thing, but that's the way.
You state the amount that is being,
So any amount that is accrued between now and June 30th would be remaining on the books. The current balance would be eliminated.
and what is the current balance?
The current balance is $147 million.
All right, parties, you've heard the terms of the proposed stipulation. Who speaks for WAPA on this matter? Mr. Knight, is that the agreement of the parties?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Raise your right hand to be sworn, please.
Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony and the evidence you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Again, Mr. Knight, you've heard the representation of Attorney Spain. Is that the position of WAPA?
Yes, I believe it is. We have agreed that.
Hold on, I need a yes or no. Is that the position of WAPA?
And speak up too, because we need to be able to hear you. Sorry.
Before I respond, the way it was stated was a little bit. I don't think it was stated as clearly as it could be stated, so perhaps Mrs. Spain, for my benefit, could be stated again, and then I'll answer this.
I'll restate it.
Go ahead.
The current, let's say, the prior LEAC rate of 0.22.
I don't think he means that part. He means the
I
part
just
about.
want to put the whole thing in a. So the current rate of $22.46 per kilowatt hour will be maintained through June 30th of 2026. On June 30th of 2026, any remaining sum from the now current balance of $147 million will be zeroed out. WAPA may accrue additional deferred fuel account claims between now and June 30th. The WAPA and the PSC staff will meet within 60 days to define acceptable changes and calculations to that deferred fuel balance within the next 60 days and return that to the commission.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, that's our agreement.
All right. Commissioners, you've heard the proposed stipulation. Is there a motion to accept the settlement agreement?
Discussion?
Can we have a motion first and then we could have discussion?
I move the proposal be accepted.
Second. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, the motion has been made. And the second discussion.
I just have a couple points of clarification for the director that I'd like to understand. I'd like to understand first that the agreed upon calculations going forward, to the extent that you're unable to reach agreement with staff, this matter will just simply be returned to the PSC to continue our consideration of your request. Yes.
That's a decision to be made by the Public Service Commission. I think we're willing to sit with in good faith and in interest of transparency with staff to review the numbers as regularly as the PSC would like us to. If we, for whatever reason, are unable to agree, then it's up to the commission to determine what course of action you take.
Okay, well, my understanding, the way Attorney Sprain stated it, is that if you guys can't agree on how we're going to define deferred fuel in the next 60 days, the matter will come back to the PSC. I'm operating on that assumption. The other very simple clarification is deferred fuel works both ways. I don't really see this going negative as opposed to positive, but we should all acknowledge that over the course of the next year, that same deferred fuel calculation, which is to be determined by agreement with you and our staff, isn't just necessarily a positive event. It could also be a negative event to be recovered by rate holders. I'm fairly sure, Director, you would agree.
I
with
agree.
that. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Chair.
Any other discussion? Commissioner Stamps, Commissioner McGrath, Commissioner Raymond Williams?
No.
All right, roll call, please. I'm sorry, Senator Joseph?
I have no further questions.
Thank you so much for recognizing me.
Senator Fetterman? You give me that one.
John,
I concur with the agreement.
All right, roll call?
Roll call, Commissioner McGrath,
No.
Commissioner Nichols Sands,
no.
Commissioner Raymond Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Pedro Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 2 voting no, 3 yes, the motion is carried.
Thank you, commissioners. Thank you, Walker. On to the next item, docket 709, Walker investigation on fuel acquisition process. Who speaks to that?
I can speak to that, Mr. Chairman.
So now you're still on the oath, so you may proceed.
Yeah.
Relax, take your time. You may proceed. You have a written report for us?
Certainly we can submit that. I don't know, think about putting it on screen, but we can certainly, I can walk you through it and I can submit a copy for.
If you have an extra
and
copy,
make copies.
if you have an extra copy, staff can make copies while you proceed, and then we'll catch up with you. Thank you, sir.
Let me make sure I get it right.
Give us the one with all you let me know. And please keep your voices up. Some of us are getting older.
The court reporter's not in the room, so we have to have a high volume to record this.
I
Clear
will
record.
try to use my teaching voice that I never had. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for asking us here to speak to this issue. I know this has been an issue that has been of great curiosity for the commission. It has a great impact on everything we've discussed this morning and moving forward as to the success or lack thereof for the Water and Power Authority. I want to start all the way from the very beginning because when I took this post in July 29th of last year, there was some open questions and I inherited some things that I think was the subject of inquisition by this commission. Namely, what is taking so long for WAPA to transition or to engage in a new fuel contract for the provision of LPG, liquid propane gas. The authority, and when I entered the authority, there was a effort that was in process to bring on a fuel consultant. It was a gentleman by the name of Russell Painter that had been identified as the potential fuel consultant for the authority. That gentleman, at some point in the process, before we could finalize the contract, expressed an interest in participating more fully in the procurement. And therefore, he recused himself from participating as our advisor and consultant on this procurement. That started a process of identifying another consultant. that could fill the role, negotiating the agreement with that consultant, getting them on board, and having them proceed to prepare the solicitation and provide the necessary consultation on that solicitation. We did ultimately do that in the form of a company named Caribbean Utility Services. And we began our solicitation for a new LPG provider on April 14th of 2025. We advertised, as we typically do, in the local periodicals on our website. We also reached out to our partners at the American Public Power Association, as well as Carelec, to make sure that we cast a broad net for companies that support utilities, both regionally as well as nationally in this area. We also, perhaps most importantly, and when you get a copy from staff, we had a direct bidders list of companies that we directly sent the RFP package to. That included Empire Gas, Peerless Oil, West Indies Petroleum, Borinquen Marine Group, Cobas Enterprises, Total Energies Marketing, Energy Transfer, Glencore, St. Knolls, Blackline Midstream, Carib LPG Trading, Triton Energy, Flight Petroleum, Geogas Trading, Second Base LLC, and our current provider, Vitol Inc. 16 companies in all were directly solicited to provide proposals in response to our search for an LPG provider. Pre-bid conferences were held on the 23rd of April. Site visits were held on the 24th and 25th, St. Thomas and St. Croix respectively. There were 3 subsequent addendums that were issued. And on May 21st, we received 4 responses by the deadline to the proposal. We began evaluations. The evaluation met and held its first meeting on May 28th. There were clarifications sought of the respondents, and the respondents were asked for a best and final offer. We had 4 responsive respondents, and we rated them in the areas of experience, financial stability, regulatory compliance, technical capability, the logistics of their delivery, of course, their price, and the availability of additional storage. We had a criterion of having 70,000 barrels of LPG available to the U.S. Virgin Islands within 72 hours of our request. The ultimate outcome of the RFP process was the lowest pricing that the Water and Power Authority got in response to its RFP was 55.75 cents. All other respondents were higher. Most respondents declined to provide a best and final that deviated from that response. One respondent that provided a best and final increased their pricing as part of their best and final. And so the evaluation committee ultimately made a determination that we had not achieved the necessary results that we were seeking. The objective of the RFP had not been met, and that in fact, the pricing proposals did not leave us any place differently than we had been, nor had the payment terms improved, or had there been any other additional value that was gleaned from the RFP process. We terminated that process, ended it, and we started out of in the interest of public exigency, direct engagement with potential providers, starting with the respondents, trying to see if there was assumptions that were factored into their proposals or other things, risks they were trying to mitigate, but to see if we could get to a better price point, better payment terms, or better value from their proposals. So we did, in fact, have subsequent conversations with Vitol, Carib LPG, and St. Knolls. The 4th proposal was deemed to not be in a competitive range. We also expanded the scope to include West Indies Petroleum, to include Blackline Midstream, and Empire Gas, and a company by the name of DasRep, a local oil and gas firm by the name of DasRep. That was also included. We had conversations, albeit briefly, with some interested parties that represented a few other interests, but they did not submit formal proposals. We got formal proposals from everyone, as I mentioned above, with the exception of DasRep. We looked at those proposals, compared them to the results of the RFP. We engaged in direct negotiations, and we emerged with Empire Gas Company as being the primary or the company that provided the best value from a logistics perspective, a technical perspective, payment terms, as well as pricing. We are currently in contract negotiations with Empire Gas. We've been authorized by our board to proceed with those negotiations, and we are finalizing those contract negotiations as I speak. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Director Knight. Questions by the commission? Commissioner Stan?
No.
Commissioner McGrath?
Just one question. The consultant that you talked to was okay, but what company was he associated with afterwards?
He ultimately submitted a proposal under the name Blackline Midstream.
Fine. Thank you.
Commissioner Williams, Raymond?
So, I know you said you, Director Knight, you got authorization from the board. You have any kind of idea of how long that process is gonna take, to complete?
We should have a final markup, I would say early next week. We're aiming to conclude the process this week. But I would imagine that we should have a signed contract in place by early next week. We have exchange drafts, and we are heading towards final contract language.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. When you concluded this process, Director Knight, I almost immediately was contacted by several of the respondents on your list, inquiring as to whether or not the PSC thought this process was fair. The suggestion is that the qualifier that you mentioned effectively excluded all but one party, the 72-hour provision of storage, effectively local storage, either drove up the cost by causing people to maintain inventories that were unnecessary, or excluded everyone but one entity on the list. That entity had already established local storage over in Puerto Rico. They thought that was an unfair provision. They wanted to know our thoughts on what could be done about that, because they felt it was also a remarkably unnecessary provision, given that, LPG that's inbound on ships is, to schedule is what the contract was supposed to be about, not some backup LPG storage provision. They also suggested to me that the market for this, first of all, they were not directly solicited, although they did eventually participate. They, because they heard about it just after the fact, they're qualified in the sense that they have experience and equipment in the region, and they still wanted an opportunity to engage with the utility, which they felt like when it went to a direct negotiation, it effectively went to a direct negotiation to only one entity. You can see from our perspective how, if many of those things were true, then the PSC would be concerned that we ran a closed process. I'd like to set most of that aside and just suggest this. If there are parties out there whose pricing is distinctly favorable to that which you're currently negotiating, would you entertain their proposals right now?
At this late juncture, I think that process has ended. Let me just say, Commissioner Hughes, because you throw out a lot of things and then you move to a different question. I want to make it unequivocally clear. Well, first of all, let me clarify, the additional storage availability was part of the evaluation criteria of the original RFP, and it only represented a 10% weighting out of 100. So it was not by and large a deal breaker. If you were unable to meet that provision, it did not eliminate you from consideration. It simply meant that if you could meet that provision, you were able to score a little bit higher. Some proposers had creative ways of doing it and some didn't. We did not engage in direct negotiation with just one individual. And when we did engage in direct negotiation, there were no litmus tests. We did not only negotiate with folks that had storage, we negotiated with everyone. The storage criteria is a part of the RFP because it does make a difference if my fuel supply is coming from 9 days away. And if I can make changes in that shipment while it's already en route, those are real logistical factors that we deal with on a regular basis. And so having shipments in close proximity, especially this time of year in the hurricane season, that is an added bonus. And so 10 points were put into the RFP for companies that could come up with a creative solution. As you know, when we started with the VTOL project, there was a very large gas carrier that used to park off of the coast of St. Thomas and provided us with the convenience of local storage. And we were trying to see if there was a possibility for us to replicate the benefits that we enjoyed back when we had the very large gas carrier. At this stage in the game, if contract negotiations fail, I'm open to meeting with other parties, but I do think that we have an agreement in principle and we intend to finalize that agreement.
I think it's likely you're going to receive an unsolicited bid for this project from someone or some entity that I believe you would have a very difficult time suggesting was not qualified. I don't know that we're in a position to turn down additional savings just as a function of process. So I would ask that you keep an open mind towards that proposal if you receive it. We just went through a really interesting discussion on LEAC and deferred fuel going forward, which is very likely to just essentially be a calculation of this fuel price that we're now discussing in this docket item. So I don't think we're in a position to actually turn down cheaper fuel if it's available to us. I appreciate that number probably doesn't seem to have been made available to you in your original process, but to the extent that it shows up now, I would hope that you would have the ability to engage. This isn't a single day docket. I'd like to understand why each and who, as we go through this process to understand your RFP, I'd like to understand exactly what the responses and discussions were with each of the entities that eventually did not participate. So I'm just going to leave it at that because I don't think we're going to close the docket today. And just give you a sense of my expectation is if you get a better offer, you'll take it. So a comment on Empire, by the way, the company you suggested or you've decided to go forward with. This is an entity that has no experience in bulk transportation of LPG. They don't own any ships. They don't lease any ships. They never have. They run a distribution business out of Puerto Rico and they're supplied by third parties. I don't know that necessarily makes them one of our stronger candidates, although you've been through the field. There are roughly 15 or 16 entities operating in the Caribbean that operate their own ships or operate leased vessels. Just seems strange to me that we're going to depend on someone that has no experience and has never had any experience in that field. So thanks, Chair. Those are my comments.
Mr. Chairman. Sure. So I disagree with your statements, Commissioner Hughes. The fact of the matter is, as we understand this market, there's no one that does bulk LPG. There's bottled gas that goes up and down the Caribbean primarily for cooking gas purposes. It's either bullets or it's bottled. Diageo, for instance, takes on fuel for their power generation. It's bullets that they use. No one does bulk LPG other than VTOL that built the market. They built the terminal. There's not a single other utility in the Caribbean that has a propane terminal and takes on ocean-borne LPG in bulk. That doesn't exist. The closest utility in proximity, let me respond. The closest, because there's a lot of misinformation going out into the media, and I need to make sure that I take every opportunity to correct the record. As Virgin Islanders, we're going to understand the LPG industry. The closest power utility that uses LPG for power generation is Roatan, Honduras. If you go, and that's a 21 megawatt plant running 3 Wärtsilä engines like we have here on St. Thomas. If you go beyond that, you'll find a small power plant in Chile. You'll find 2 small power plants in Chile. That's it for this side of the world. You got to go to Ghana for the next power plant that actually uses LPG for power production. Most companies, they charter vessels. There's probably about 4 or 5 companies in the world that have vessels. Even Vitol has been chartering vessels for I don't know how long, but I inherited the Water and Power Authority working with Vitol, and they use chartered vessels. Their vessels are all chartered. Everyone that has proposed to supply us with fuel would charter vessels to supply us with fuel. The fact is, Empire Gas does bring in tankers of fuel into Puerto Rico. They are the number 10 largest distributor of retail propane in the country, not Puerto Rico, but in the United States of America. They bring in tankers and they supply maybe 75% of the Puerto Rican market. They have 4 terminals in Puerto Rico by which they bring in imports. They have their own facility that they own, the former refinery, where they have storage, as well as a fuel terminal to bring in fuel. So they have experience bringing in fuel, and like everybody else, the charter vessels are available to them to charter just like every other proposal would have chartered vessels. So it's incorrect to say that they have no experience, because you're comparing them to who? Nobody other than Vitol has experience doing this in any place this side of the world, period.
First of all, no one mentioned having a terminal. These stocks ship out of the Dominican Republic or Panama or the U.S. Gulf Coast. So this is a transportation issue for bulk carriage, which is something that Empire does not do. They have their terminal. We have our terminals, by the way, 2 of them, in addition to Ocean Point, but WAPA owns 2 terminals. I didn't mention having a terminal. I mentioned the capability of transporting bulk storage LPG. Interesting thing about Vitol for the last 3.5 years hasn't been directly supplying the Water and Power Authority. They've simply been facilitating the contract for the carrier that they subcontracted it to, and that carrier is an active entity with ships in the Caribbean, and was in the list of those companies which you listed as having been solicited for the bid. So Vitol doesn't actually do this business anymore either. But there are companies that do, and I'm just suggesting those companies are clearly qualified to meet this bill. And if they were to come with a lower price, you should consider it.
And the final word I'd say, Mr. Chairman, if I can beg your indulgence, is after we made a decision, suddenly everyone wanted to talk to us again. But there were firms that were very firm with us and said that this price is the price and we can't do any better. And then once they realized that we were serious about looking for an alternative supplier, suddenly everyone wanted to have a conversation. I look at that as a positive. The next time we put out a solicitation, I expect everyone to sharpen their pencils and they'll be ready to actually meet our needs in a way that makes sense for the Water Power Authority. But at the time, I think they felt the market was cornered and this was the pricing that the market would produce. And they thought we didn't have options. We found a solution that works for all the people of the Virgin Islands.
Either that or until you have a signed agreement, you're still capable of negotiating and having those discussions. I mean, I'm not making the decision. I'm simply putting that out there for your consideration. Following up on maybe one of Commissioner Hughes' question, maybe you did answer this. What is the logistics of getting the LPG to the Virgin Islands? I mean, given that, assuming they have no vessels that they own or lease, what's your understanding of how we're going to get that and how reliable is that transportation?
So the logistics for the industry period, most of the fuel is taken out of terminals in the Gulf Coast. It comes on large tankers into the territory. What we do is a tanker usually goes into St. Thomas because the tanker is too large to go into St. Croix. They fill up the tanks in St. Thomas, and then we take a shuttle from St. Thomas to get to St. Croix. That shuttle is a chartered vessel that is subject to availability. The difference with this contract, as I perceive it working, The tankers will do what they do now for Empire Gas. They'll come from the Gulf Coast as they currently do today. They will stop in Puerto Rico and offload their cargo as they currently do in the storage there on Puerto Rico. And then there'll be chartered vessels that move from that terminal to St. Thomas. And in a improvement over current logistics, they'll be able to move from that terminal directly to St. Croix. The need to fill up in St. Thomas and then immediately turn around and offload to send to St. Croix would be negated. We'd be able to have separate vessels serve St. Croix and St. Thomas from the Puerto Rico location. It's a 10-hour sail from the terminal in Puerto Rico, as opposed to a 9-day sail from the Gulf Coast.
And it'll be Empire's responsibility to get the fuel to St. Croix, if it goes to Whopper.
It is Empire's responsibility to get fuel to both of our terminals.
Probably the more important question is this agreement subject to the PSC's approval?
To the extent that ultimately we would need the rates to be covered, we hope that there's some ratification of the contract. We've presented and we're willing to present in further details and one executive session or confidentially on the details related to the procurement. But we feel that we've ran a transparent process and we've gotten the best results that the market could bear. We do ultimately hope that there's some ratification of the agreement. We have been operating with a 33 cents transportation costs as an assumption for prior to me getting here for several years. I think we, in conversations that I've had with the body earlier, I've said once we do a full procurement, we'll have a sense as to what that transportation costs can get to. My current providers were very firm in going through this process as to what they thought the real transportation cost was. I did express as part of my negotiations what ultimately I'm able to recover in rates through the PSC's rate setting. And they didn't believe that that was anything that was achievable in the market, and they dared me to do better. So I think we have a market set price, and I would hope that the PSC would ultimately ratify and adopt that as the pricing for the LPG moving forward.
But I don't understand why you're asking us to ratify it. It would seem to me that you'd want to submit that document for our review prior to signing off on the document, so that at least you know and everybody know what the PSC is prepared to approve in rate. Or you're saying, I don't know how you determine that later on. That's really unfair to us and unfair to the public. You know what the terms of the contract are. It's submitted for us. I mean, you know, obviously in a confidential fashion, so that at least we can weigh in on this rather than doing it after the fact. Because if you don't do that, you're going to be in the same position you're in now, where we've approved one rate and you, in your contract, provide for a much higher rate, and we have no obligation to, you know, for you to get reimbursed based on that higher rate.
So, Mr. Chairman, in prior conversations, I made it clear that I'm willing to be transparent as to the process that brought us to our contract award. I've given a public overview of that process, and certainly I'm willing to provide further details in appropriate setting. I have no problem sharing with the contract, even in its current draft form. I can certainly share with you the contract that is being considered. I can show you the deliberations between the parties, although that's an extra step. I have no problem in sharing that, so you understand how we arrive at what will ultimately be a final product. I hope that you can appreciate my position. I don't want to give up any authority that I currently have. I won't cede that. My governing board has given me authorization to negotiate within certain parameters. I am hoping that by showing transparency in how we arrived here, the efforts we've made to get here, the considerations that went into this final decision, and ultimately what that final contract looks like. And I can certainly provide that to you prior to my final sign off. just in the interest of transparency, and I would hope that that is sufficient to suffice the commission that we engage in good faith negotiations and arrive at a prudent contractual arrangement.
And I appreciate that, and I would respectfully request that that be done. We all, based on the contract terms, you anticipate asking for rate increase by this commission?
No, I do not anticipate asking for a rate increase based on the contract terms.
All right.
What is the length of the contract? When was the time span?
It's a 2-year contract with an option for a 1-year extension if agreeable to both parties.
Senator Joseph?
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. A pleasant good afternoon to you, WAPA, CEO Carl Knight. I do have a couple of questions. For Empire Gas, they did submit their proposal based on the RFP. On time.
They were not on time.
Okay.
We had an RFP process. They did submit a proposal that by our clock was a few hours later than what was acceptable. But we did have the benefit of a proposal that predated any other conversations, negotiations, or discussions. So that proposal was taken, segregated. It was not evaluated with everything else. And we only revisited that proposal once we terminated the RFP process.
Okay.
But we had it was firm, and so it was not subject to any discussions that would have taken place after the opening of proposals.
Okay. And you made that determination based on what? To keep the proposal, even though it was a few hours later?
I mean, we had it in our possession. I mean, we received a proposal that.
But it was
in our
after the
possession.
time frame,
Yes.
but you still did look at it.
No.
We did not evaluate it. The evaluation committee never saw the proposal. They were not asked to evaluate that proposal.
So who evaluated the proposal?
That proposal, when.
Just state your name for the record, attorney.
Dion Sinclair, General Counsel at the Water and Power Authority.
And speak up a little louder also, sorry. I have a teacher's voice.
I do not, but thank you. So the proposals were done pursuant to the contract guidelines, right? Under the guidelines, the cutoff time was posted in the advertisement on the website and on the Carolick website. The Empire proposal came in a few hours behind the deadline, so it was deemed non-responsive. There was nothing we can do. It was outside the time. So it was received, but it was not open, it wasn't considered, and it was not given to the evaluation committee. It was only at the time that the evaluation was closed, because it did not further the goals of the stated RFP, that then the decision was made to do direct solicitations. This is also pursuant to our contract guidelines. And then that proposal was open.
And let me just amend that to say that was after, it was only reviewed after the original 4 respondents were asked to give a best and final offer to the solicitation. Only upon not getting the results that we were seeking through a best and final offer request did we start exploring other options, including looking at the proposal that had come in a few hours late. And contrary to some of the public statements that I've seen in the media, no one at the evaluation committee, no one was privy to that proposal prior to that point in the process when a best and final offer was asked and received. At that point, that proposal was then considered.
And it goes and it feeds into comments made by Commissioner Hughes that you also in this negotiation of this contract, based on what you just represented, keep an open mind. I also wanted to ask you, is there any type of experience your chosen contractor has with shipping LPG to this region? As far as St. Thomas, between Puerto Rico to St. Thomas, you know, we have some little bit of waters that can be really rough at times. Have they looked at that?
Yes, they're familiar. So they are the supplier. When Diageo came off of WAPA's grid, They went into a self-generation solution that is supplied and fueled by Empire Gas. They also supply fuel to our local bottled gas suppliers as well. So they are one of the suppliers. The day when the conversation got into the media, someone showed me a picture out at sub base with a large Empire Gas bullet tanker sitting out there because they are a supplier of bottled gas to the territory as well. So they have experience traversing in these waters. Of course, they are a U.S. jurisdiction, so they're very familiar with the requirements of the U.S. Coast Guard, et cetera, because it's applicable to them as well.
Okay, and my final question, because it's appropriate, we are in hurricane season. Did they give you any type of hurricane preparedness plan, how they would address that in the event that we do have a disaster? And I'm not just only talking about hurricanes, we are subject as well to earthquakes and tsunamis or any other or man-made disaster. Have they submitted anything to you that has met, or are you still reviewing that, any type of plans?
So they do have those type of plans and several others. As a supplier already in the chain, they actually have plans submitted. I believe they're submitted to VITEMA, but they have plans that were already reviewed by VITEMA. Our plans have some additional requirements, but that was all part of the RFP ask, and then an ask of the direct solicitation as well. So it's included in the contract documents as well.
Their proposal included those plans.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Frederick. Any questions?
No questions.
All right, thank you. Staff, any questions? Staff? All right, thank you very much for your presentation.
Chair, I do have a couple follow-on questions for the director.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
So, Director, you mentioned that this LPG bulk storage ultimately will be coming out of Puerto Rico. Did I hear that correctly?
That is certainly an option. We have not limited them from serving us from Puerto Rico, but certainly that to me would be the most logistically practical option.
So Puerto Rico being a U.S. territory and the Gulf Coast being the United States, whereas the Virgin Islands has a exemption from the Jones Act, Puerto Rico does not. Any gas coming out of Puerto Rico can't have been transported, purchased and transported directly from the Gulf Coast due to Jones Act restrictions. It means this vendor has to be bringing their gas out of, I don't know, the Dominican Republic or some of the other terminals around the Caribbean. Have they addressed their inability to touch the largest market for LPG in terms of, ultimately getting best pricing for you? Because I know your price is based on a Mount Belvieu index, which is a U.S. index. Gas
commodity.
Gas can't come from there to Puerto Rico. So
I don't know if that is a true statement, but what I will say though is the market index that we use for pricing is the Mount Belvieu. The other component of our pricing is the transportation cost. So pricing is just two components: market price and an adder that includes transportation, profit overhead, and everything else. Remember, once again, they do supply the local cooking gas companies. They also supply the Diageo facility on St. Croix. And they do have multiple suppliers that they've worked with. They have a particular supplier that's probably their largest supplier, but they have multiple suppliers that they do ultimately work with. There are traders that move fuel up and down the region, and they have relationships with existing traders.
Yeah, they're doing that out of Ocean Point Terminal, and they have a bulk supplier that puts propane for them in Ocean Point's storage. Because it's in the U.S. Virgin Islands, of course, that can come down from the Gulf Coast. There are no U.S. flagged bulk carriers, so there is no ability to send gas between the Gulf Coast and Puerto Rico, other than on a foreign flagged vessel, and that would violate the Jones Act. But the territorial stuff, to the extent that it's coming into the Virgin Islands, that would be legal, just not out of Puerto Rico. I would just like to reiterate my concern to you. You know, however we got here, we've effectively been bankrupted by the last fuel contract. The utility has been bankrupted by the VTOL repricing, and that's why we are where we are right now with your financial condition. All other things being equal, it was pretty much just your average day until the fuel went out of control. I'm not anxious to get there again, so I don't know that we can afford directors to, however you've gotten to this point, not look at a better offer. That makes no sense to me. If you've brought everybody to the table, I don't really care how you got them there. But if you get a better offer, I at the PSC would expect you to entertain it and take it. It took us 10 months to publish a RFP for essentially buying bulk LPG for cash. It was a pretty simple transaction at the end of the day. Taking an extra couple weeks to entertain a late stage offer, however you got them to make it, I think is well worth the time if there are significant savings.
I will, you know, if there's somebody, if you have an offer that you want me to take a look at, I'll take a look at an offer. Let the commission be clear though. My last shipment from VTOL is on August 31st. We're debating what happens after August 31st, because it usually takes me 3 days to offload that ship. I don't have the luxury of time. Anybody that's really serious in the business, they want cargoes nominated at least 60 days in advance. That window has all but effectively shut. If there's some Hail Mary pass that blows everything out of the water, hey, I'll take a look at it, but I can't make any commitments that I'm going to commit to anything other than the path that we're already on. We're out of time. I think we have done well for what the market could bear and where the market initially was. We've spent the last 45 days really pushing the envelope, and I don't want to push the envelope and get someone that is unreliable. And certainly there's a lot of folks that realize that this is a lucrative business and would like to get in on the action. There'll be another time.
Well, as you know, the ships required to bring this stuff to the Virgin Islands by virtue of the logistics are the coaster class and handy class bulk storage LPG vessels, and they are few and far between in the Caribbean these days. Most of them left for the Ukraine, the Russian region after the Ukraine war broke out. But there are very few people that have those vessels still around. There are a few. Empire's not one of them, and they don't currently have anything under contract. So I'm going to predict that you're going to extend the VTOL contract by probably another 3 months while Empire tries to find a ship that they haven't currently contracted for. So I think you'll have a little bit of time to look at an offer. I hope you do. I hope you get a good one. I'm not generating it, by the way, and I'm not involved. I've been made aware by some of your participants that they think they can do much, much better. If they come to the table, great. If they don't, then I've wasted your time and I apologize. But I think you're going to have a little bit of time because I don't think Empire is ready to go just yet.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Chair. Appreciate the attention.
I will make one comment that in the document you gave us, there's no mention of Empire in here.
Yeah, I think it's incomplete.
There's a subsequent document that I can share with the commission. Sorry, I've been a little out of source this morning, but this document reflects the request for proposal and that request for proposal effort. There is some documents that I can share after the fact that does include what happened after the request for proposal. Those are sensitive documents, as well as the pricing that I think is not in your document as well. And I can certainly share those as well.
Right, so you can submit that and ask us to keep it confidential. We're used to doing that.
I'm sorry?
So you can submit them and ask us to keep it confidential. We're used to doing that.
Yes, there's a few more documents that I think might be of benefit and use to the commission that we can certainly share at the end of this.
So I asked staff to take note of that, and today's Tuesday, so I suspect we should have it by the end of the week. If not, then we'll follow up to get it, as well as the proposed contract. Thank you very much. You may want to stay for the next one, docket 672, WAPA customer service.
Yes,
Ms. Hendrick?
yes, one moment, let me pull my document. Good afternoon to all. The report that I'm about to read into the record was shared with the commission and WAPA prior to today. So I'll begin. In 2023, the Virgin Islands Public Services Commission, PSC, reevaluated its complaint process following the enactment of Act 8375, which is the Virgin Islands Ratepayers Bill of Rights, and the implementation of the customer service complaint policies and procedures as adopted by PSC Order 3723. Act 8375 grants the PSC the authority to resolve ratepayer complaints. To better assist the complaint process and the revisions for ratepayers, the PSC staff reviewed the volume and the nature of the complaints received and listened to the challenges both by the ratepayers and the Virgin Islands Water and Power Authority, known as WAPA. As a result, the complaint process was streamlined into 5 steps. Following the launch of the revised process, the PSC conducted several outreach initiatives to increase awareness of the agency and its services. However, the PSC continues to receive a high volume of customer complaints and inquiries daily, with the majority coming from ratepayers of the Water and Power Authority. There were key issues identified in the PSC's October 2024 meeting. Staff reported that ratepayers raised a variety of concerns, which included estimated billing, unusually high bills, malfunctioning or non-responding meters, and solar or net energy billing account issues. These issues persist and continue into 2023. They include overbilling, back billing, reoccurring estimated billing, billings estimated or actual exceeding a 30-day period, delayed credit adjustments, refund delays, and just general billing uncertainties. Customers continue to express frustration, confusion, and a lack of confidence regarding billing practices. In 2025, the commission was served with a subpoena in a class action lawsuit that was filed against the authority. The issues outlined in the lawsuit mirror the concerns regularly reported by ratepayers through the PSC's complaint intake process. Between January and July of this year, 2025, the PSC has received a total of 148 complaints from customers of the Water and Power Authority. 63 of those complaints are from the District of St. Croix and 85 from the St. Thomas, St. John District. In response, the PSC's complaint team meets weekly with WAPA's customer service team to address longstanding complaints and service-related issues. This collaboration has led to a constructive and results-driven relationship focused on improving the overall customer experience. While a significant increase in complaint resolutions have been observed, many challenges remain. These include unresolved complaints, frequent estimated billing discrepancies, malfunctioning meters, delays in the net energy billing conversions, untimely and unexplained billing adjustments, and slow processing of refunds and credit adjustments. In accordance with PSC Order 3723, the PSC staff is prepared to present 4 longstanding complaints with formal recommendations to the Commission for further action. Staff conducted thorough investigations and held ongoing decisions with the authority and are now ready to move forward with these matters to bring resolution. Executive Director Sandra Satori will present the recommendations on behalf of the following complainants: Phildare Webster, electric complaint; Christopher and Lisa Ekpo, electric complaint; Ruth Leonard, water complaint; and Terrence Bostic, a net energy billing complaint, which would fall under the electric category. The PSC remains committed to upholding the principles outlined in the Virgin Islands Ratepayers Bill of Rights by ensuring transparency, accountability, and fairness in utility services. As staff continues to address customer service issues, the Commission will closely monitor the outcomes of the complaints presented and take further action as necessary. Moving forward, the PSC will continue working collaboratively with the authority and ratepayers to address systematic issues, enhance service delivery, and to restore public trust in the billing process and complaint resolution framework. I am Tashawn Hendricks, the Assistant Executive Director for the Public Services Commission, and that concludes my report.
Ms. Hendricks, you said you received 148 complaints. What period of time does that cover?
That was just for this year, from January to July of this year.
From January of July of 2025?
That's correct.
And how many of those complaints have been resolved?
I can tell you that in a few minutes. I can get back to you with that number, Chairman.
Well, do we have any statistics as to how many complaints we got in 2024?
We have all of that information. I can prepare that and have that ready for you.
Does WAPA wish to respond to anything that Ms. Hendricks has said?
Just a general statement. I think we have some specifics that we can delve into, and I have some folks that can get you more specific responses. But just in general, we have acknowledged those issues. As Ms. Hendricks points out, we work on a regular basis to resolve customer complaints. We do have something in the order of about 70,000 customers, and so there are issues that pop up. We've had some chronic issues related to the failures of structure. That's well documented, and in fact, it's FEMA has acknowledged the storm damage to our system and has allowed us the ability to replace that system in its entirety. That's a process that we are now undertaking. We do ultimately try our best to avoid estimations. We had a very robust conversation with the Senate about some of these circumstances that lead to estimates that we think we can mitigate that's within our control. And we continue to do our best to try and get some accuracy back to the billing and to the metering process. So there's a number of different directions. We also have embarked on a large meter replacement program, but on the water as well as the electric side. This year alone, we've replaced maybe about 3,000 meters on the electric side, and we're also replacing meters on the water side. So we are doing our level best to restore some reliability and trust of metering and billing system. And there are some specific inquiries I think the commission has, and I do have folks that can speak to whether AMI, specific customer issues, or the other issues that you have on the docket as well. So.
There are 4 specific cases that on our agenda for today. taking each of them, does WAPA concur with the recommendation? I'm assuming you've read the report.
Yes.
Let's take them in turn. On the Webster matter, does WAPA agree or disagree with the recommendation?
Disagree.
Sorry,
Disagree, sir.
the Echo?
WAPA also disagrees.
Well, that's short circuited. Do you disagree with all of them?
Yes.
All right, fine.
Commissioner
All right.
Williams.
Mr. Toy, is there anything you want to say about those 4 matters?
Other than to just reiterate the recommendations, if necessary, I know the commissioners received copies of the recommendations. I don't have anything else to add to the recommendations or the reporting.
All right, well, let's again take each of them. On the Webster matter, what is WAPA's disagreement with that recommendation?
Mr. Chairman, in light of the limited space here to justify this table, let me give a couple members of my team a chance to, they have much more in-depth information to share with you than I do, so I'll sit in the gallery and get up while the game's good.
Whoever's gonna speak for WAPA, we're gonna need you to be sworn in. Hello? Paul, who's gonna be speaking for WAPA? How many persons? The 3 of you?
All 3 of us might have a comment, so for you.
All right, so raise your right hand to the floor.
Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony and the evidence you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you very much. Please
State your
state.
name for the record, please.
Marlene Francis, Customer Service Director.
Lorraine Kennedy, Chief Financial Officer. Deanne Sinclair, General Counsel.
Okay, Ms. Francis, tell us what is WAPA's concern or objection to the recommendation in the Webster matter?
Okay, may I read the prepared response? May I read the prepared response?
You may.
Thank you. The Virgin Islands Water and Power Authority submits this filing in response to the Public Services Commission final complaint report dated July 28th. The billing
Did
is.
you submit that to us? What you read it?
Yes, it should have been. Yeah.
We received that at 9:34.
Yes, unfortunately.
At 9:34 this morning.
Yes.
Clearly, WAPA could not have anticipated that the commission members were gonna review your response. We were already in session at 9:34 this morning.
Our apologies.
I had a judge chide a colleague the other day for submitting something at 8:41 in the morning for the 11 o'clock hearing. Can somebody copy those responses for us, please? Is it lengthy?
Did several of them?
I mean, yeah, or email it to us, whichever is easier. All right, but go ahead, Ms. Francis, request, time is up.
Again, our apologies. While the authority recognizes the importance of addressing customer concerns promptly and accurately, it respectfully submits that the PSC staff's recommendation does not fully reflect the corrective measures already taken, the verified usage data obtained following meter replacement, or the substantial account adjustments already applied to Ms. Webster's account. Since being made aware of the issues in this matter, the authority has replaced the customer's meter, ensured regular meter readings are obtained, and credited the accounts with more than $3,200 in adjustments based on actual consumption records. The authority is.
Is that $3,200 more than the commission staff has recommended?
Yes. The authority is committed to maintaining transparency and accuracy in its billing practices and believe these efforts, along with the documented account history, should be considered before ordering any additional credits or refunds.
So with the $3,200, what's the difference?
I don't have that in front of me. But I
Mr.
can
Toy?
Sorry.
The recommendation calls for how much money to be refunded to Ms. Webster.
From Ms. Webster's.
Huh?
Can we read the whole response?
No, don't be, just trying to answer my question. How much money is Ms. Webster being recommended to be refunded?
$6,466.82,
I'm sorry, $6,000?
$466.82.
And you're saying out of that amount, since this report, you credited her another $3,200?
No, prior to the report.
That's not what I asked you earlier. So this is the problem. I asked, was that in response to the staff recommendation? You told me yes. All right, so how much is Ms. Webster owed? $6,466.82. Do you agree with that?
No,
You agree that that's her claim?
that's her claim.
Okay, and you have not refunded any of that as we speak here today?
Correct.
All right, so what is your proposal? What do you intend to do about that, if anything?
Based on our records and her consumption pattern, there are no further adjustments due on that account.
Okay, but you've replaced the meter.
Yes, we replaced the meter and she received an adjustment of $3,200 once we replaced the meter.
You keep saying that. Don't tell me that if that's already been determined or calculated in the $6,466 that's owed. You're simply confusing the record if you keep saying that. All right, so does PSC agree that the meter has been replaced?
The meter has been replaced.
All right, all right, what's your?
My name is Rasha Davis, the utility staff assistant for the island of St. Thomas and St. John.
Yeah, you gotta speak up.
Okay, sorry.
What are your other issues with the recommendation, Ms. Francis?
From January 2021 through December 2021, Ms. Webster's average monthly bill was $397.20. Beginning early 2022, a number of bills were issued on an estimated basis due to the challenges obtaining regular meter readings. In February 2023, Ms. Webster installed a gate on her property. In accordance with WAPA's access policy, customers with gated properties must provide either a lock mechanism or a unique gate code. Ms. Webster provided a dedicated gate code through customer service, which was confirmed as submitted. Despite this, extended periods of estimation billing persisted. In August 2024, the meter's LCD display went blank. Making it impossible for field staff to obtain a reading. The meter was replaced in January 2025, and an actual reading of 14,439 was obtained at that time. This reading formed the basis for several adjustments to prior estimated bills. Discussion.
Is it the customer's fault that the meter went blank?
No.
Is that WAPA's responsibility?
Yes, it is.
So why would that be critical to your report to tell us that that happened?
Because even though a meter goes blank, we're still able to obtain an actual reading once we bring it to our meter bank in the office. So the estimations was because the meter was blank, but we're able to obtain a verified reading at a later time.
Are you able to do that in this case?
Yes, we will.
All right, you may proceed.
The authority has reviewed Ms. Webster's account history and applied substantial credits to address periods where estimated billings overstated actual consumption. These adjustments were not arbitrary. Each was tied to actual meter readings and reconciliations of prior estimates. In October 2024, following an actual reading obtained on November the 6th, 2023, WAPA issued an adjustment of $1,138.84. Excuse me. This credit reflected the difference between the cumulative usage recorded at that time and the amounts previously billed during the months in which estimate had occurred. The reconciliation process took into account the applicable
applicable kilowatt hours rates and the specific billing periods affected. A second, more significant adjustment applied on June 4th, 2025, reducing the February 6th, 2025 bill from $3,018.45 to $911.15. This $2,177.29 adjustment incorporated the $1,978.24 referred to in WAPA's May 23, 2025 letter, along with an additional $125.05 to remove late fees that had accrued during the disputed period. This correction was based on the verified meter reading taken when the faulty meter, whose LCD display had been blank since August 2024, was replaced in January 2025. That reading of 14,439 kilowatt hours allowed WAPA to allocate actual consumption across the months covered by the estimated bills and apply appropriate credits to the customer's account. In total, these adjustments amount to $3,246.13, significantly reducing any alleged overbilling during the 43-month complaint period. When these credits are factored into the PSC staff calculation, the recommended $6,466.82 figure is substantially overstated. The authority will provide supporting documentation, including consumption history, billing statements, and calculation worksheets, so that the PSC can verify the methodology used. WAPA respectfully submits that when the verified usage data and applied adjustments are fully considered, there is no factual basis to award the full credit proposed in the staff recommendation. Conclusion. The authority has taken concrete steps to address the issues raised in these matters, including replacing the meter, ensuring regular meter readings are obtained, and applying more than $3,200 in credits to reconcile estimated bills with verified consumption. These measures reflect WAPA's commitment to accurate billing and transparent resolution of customer concerns. Given the verified usage data obtained following the meter replacement, the substantial credits already applied, and the operational measures now in place to prevent reoccurrence, the authority respectfully requests that the commission modify or reject the PSC staff's recommendation for an additional $6,466.82 in credits or refunds. The documented account history and corrective action demonstrate further adjustments beyond those already provided are not warranted. Thank you, Commissioner.
So you're asking us to modify it to what?
Zero.
Staff, any response?
Yes, and I'll let Ms. Davis respond, but before that, I would like to refer to staff recommendation on page 505, item number B, second paragraph. B, basis for recommendation. The second paragraph explicitly states that the staff determines that the utility has provided no reliable calculation or analysis to explain or justify the variation in billing amounts or billing patterns. And so therefore, the recommendation that staff was able to come up with is based on the documentation, the supporting documentation that was submitted to the utility staff assistant at the PSC. Ms. Davis, you want to continue?
Ms. Sasha Davis, utility staff assistant for the Island of St. Thomas and St. John District. In WAPA's response, they stated that in October 2024, following an actual reading obtained on November 6, 2023, WAPA issued an adjustment of $1,138.84. Based on all the bills acquired by the customer did not get an adjustment of $1,138.84 or in October 2024. The basis for the PSC's recommendation, given that most of the subject bills have been based on estimated readings, it is difficult for staff to determine the true consumption and charges. The last reliable and consistent billing in 2021, and WAPA's rates have not changed in overall total since that time. The customer denies any change of the property that it could explain either the significant overall increase or the dramatic fluctuations in billing. Therefore, staff finds that 2021 is the last year in which billing was both accurate and reasonable. Staff determines that the utility has provided no reliable calculation or analysis to explain or justify the variation in billing amounts or billing patterns. In the same billing should have applied throughout the period of January 22 to July 2025, utilizing the average 2021 billing of $380.82 per month. Over a 43-month period, the total bill should have been $16,375.26. The amount that WAPA billed was $26,871.74. WAPA has issued credits in the amount of $4,029.66, resulting in a net billing by WAPA of $22,842.08. Staff recommends that the commission order WAPA to ensure the complaint account is accurately metered, as the customer is still experiencing estimated readings.
As of today?
As of today.
Even with the new meter.
Even with the new meter.
Chairman Williams, Commissioner Hughes, and Commissioner Williams' hands are raised.
Okay.
The customer's account is not read regularly and is being estimated moving forward. We are asking for the customer to get actual readings moving forward.
Thank you. Commissioner Williams?
Yeah, several questions. I think, Marlene, you stated that although the meter may quote unquote be blank at the site, at the home or the residence, whatever it is, you have the ability to read the meter from the office. Can you explain that process to us, please?
Right, thank you, Commissioner Williams, Marlene Francis. What happens is we remove the meter and we take it to our location and it's put on a board, and that board is able to illuminate the display. The display on the meter has gone blank, but the meter continues to calculate the usage for us. So the readings are available, similar to like, I guess on your car. If something goes bad, once you take it to the dealer, he's able to see the usage that you've used in the vehicle another way. So it's the same with meters.
And so, I don't know if you specifically can answer it because this is more of a technical question. In terms of calibration of that process that you just described, how does WAPA calibrate that device or apparatus that you use in the office?
Well, I'm not certain as to that because again, I'm not the technical, but I know that we have in-house personnel that have the required resources. They have the machines, they have the equipment that we also carry in the field to check the calibrations. The PSC staff has also been present when we've done that on the field at site visits.
Okay, so I think Ms. Davis highlighted that the estimation for this customer has gone on for some 43 months. Is that correct, Ms. Davis?
Or 3 years?
They've been estimated for about 3 years, on and off.
That is true. It's unknown. It's no secret that we have been having metering challenges, right? Only last year we began to replace the meters that were on the field that were not using. We have an effort now to do that, and that's what we're doing. But once we get that actual read, then we know how much the customer has actually used at the site. Yes, customers do indicate that they have not changed their consumption patterns, but we know that even in the summer months, you would use more energy than you would use, let's say, in the winter, just because of the temperature. And we may not recognize that, but we see it often in the consumption history of customers. So the customers may not be thinking that far back, but the meter tells a story. The meter tells exactly how much you're using once we're able to get that verified reading. And in this case, we did.
Is there at any point in the discussions with the customers or in general in doing your marketing or educational awareness to the customers, to the repairs, is there a process or a guide that says to customers, you may want to conserve energy these ways or these other ways, or just ideas of what things that customers can do?
Yes, we've routinely done that, and also our communications team has a campaign that they do that. I say it all the time when I'm with the PSC consultants, staff assistants, how customers can reduce their energy consumption. I use my own experience as an example. The representatives at the office also do that as well. We do as much as we can in the time permitting to educate the customers, but our communication teams sends tips out regularly.
And I guess my last question to staff, in a scenario like this, is there, do you receive like pictures or some like maybe a video from the customer showing the performance of the meter, or do we do any field visits to see these meters at any point? This is for the PSC staff. Director Satori.
Sasha Davis, Utility Staff Assistant. Once we receive a complaint, the first thing that I do is I do a site visit. That way I can know if the meter is blank, if the meter is functionable. I am not a meter technician, but based on the last reading that the bill received, I match it to the meter. That way I can, when I put my complaint into Ms. Francis, it is clear. This is a blank meter. So prior to turning in the complaint over to WAPA, we do a site visit. Therefore, we take direct pictures of the meter.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Hughes?
Yeah, Ms. Francis, I have two questions for you, and at each juncture, I'm going to ask Attorney Sprain to offer whether he agrees with you. What does the law say about your ability to bill for repeated estimated billings?
I'm not sure what the law says, but I know we're not supposed to back bill for more than a 1 month period.
So my second question is for how long a period can you back bill a customer for usage, in the past? I believe the law is 30 days, which is pretty harsh, but used to be 90. Attorney Sprain, what does the law say about the ability for WAPA to bill for power that it is repeatedly estimated over time?
There is a requirement that the Water and Power Authority read meters monthly. I believe there's a second provision, and perhaps Attorney Sinclair knows which section is it that makes a reference to estimation, and I'd be happy to pull that up. So I guess the law requires the meters be read, period.
So hypothetically, if WAPA estimates a meter for, let's say, 3 months, can they bill for that third month way back?
No.
Commissioner Hughes, this is Lorraine Kelly, CFO. Commissioner Hughes, this is Lorraine Kelly, CFO. The current guidelines and the law allow us to be able to back bill for a 35-day period. But I do want to reference here that we have a recognized problem at WAPA.
Ma'am, I don't want to hear about that. We're talking about the law. Okay, let's talk about the law. Ms. Sinclair, would you like to talk about the law?
Yes, and thank you for your question. Attorney Sprain is correct in that our statute does provide a provision where the meters are to be read monthly. Actually says that they're to be manually read. So there's some nuance in the law and the way that the utility is run currently. There is no specific provision that talks about estimation. It does talk about back billing, cycles, things of that nature. Back billing is currently limited to a 1 month period. in this situation, in most cases where estimated bills, a bill is actually issued. So this is not the same as a back billing scenario. So
Well,
this
we
is
can
very
argue,
different.
we could argue the point as to whether or not an estimated bill is really a bill, but that's okay. Thank you. So what I don't understand in this conversation is,
Commissioner Hughes, Commissioner,
yes,
before you go to your next question, just on that point, you're saying that you could back bill for 30 days? No.
Oh, 31, sorry.
Okay, well, that's why I was asking for clarification, because the CFO said 35, I understood you to say 30. So we're now saying WAPA's position is that we could back bill for 35 days.
Let me get the exact language. I may even say a month.
Okay.
it's a bit of a moot, it's a bit of a moot point in a case where someone has been back billed for 3 or 4 years. What I don't understand is that even though the law seems to be fairly clear about how far back you can go and bill a customer when you haven't actually been billing them correctly, or you haven't been billing them at all. And yet you have a reconciliation process that very clearly violates the law. You're taking readings that essentially go back, I don't know, in this case, 11, 12, 13, 14 months. And without disputing whether or not the energy was actually used or that the reading was correct, the law does not allow you to go back into those periods of time. The law allows you to go back 35 days or 30 or some other number, used to be 90. I think that's a very harsh standard, frankly. Before Director Knight thinks I don't take his side on anything, I'd be happy to stand next to him and suggest that that's a 30 or 90 day period, given the challenges that the utilities got. I'm sorry, a 60 or 90 day period. But the fact is, the law is very clear. You can't go back and bill this customer, and you're going back, creating a reconciliation based on data that wasn't available, and then you're attempting to assert an old bill. Why do we even have to talk about that? That's not legal. You can't bill the customer for anything other than its current bill under the law. And that bill has to be a real reading, not an estimate. Why do we keep having these conversations about you guys and your reconciliation process? Your process is illegal.
Well, respectfully, Commissioner Hughes, the reading of the law is not that an estimated bill is not a bill. It is in fact a bill. In terms of back billing, it is one billing cycle. So currently the law for a billing cycle is 30 days.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Sams?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Lauren Nichols Sams. So just speaking specifically of Ms. Beldair's situation, how many times have you all replaced her meter? We're talking about like a 3-year period, right? Or how long did this whole issue?
Complaint was pending for 43 months.
Sorry, 43 months. Okay.
It was replaced once.
It was only replaced once?
Yes.
So each time there was some complaint, you actually physically took her meter, took it to you did not?
No, what happened is the complaint was actually resolved once we replaced the meter, when we got inventory in to replace the meter.
And that was recently?
I can't remember.
Because I remember we were getting all these meters. Okay.
In January 2020.
So when you took the meter to your place, to WAPA, to find out what the actual bill was, you able to print out like what each month her consumption
No,
is?
it gives you the total consumption that was on the meter. And then we use that consumption to only back bill the customer for 1 month. So that's where the credit comes in. So we only back bill a customer for 1 month, and then the remaining amount is credited back to the customer.
So if we're talking about an issue that was how many months? 43 months that she was getting estimated billing, and there's no way for you to go back to those 43 months. I'm a little confused of how she has this large balance.
Right. Go ahead. Sorry. So what Ms. Francis is indicating, when you have periods of estimation, you're trying to look for when the actual read was done.
I can't hear you.
Yeah, you need to
Sorry.
speak up.
Okay.
Thank you.
When you have periods of estimation, you're trying to target the times when you did an actual read. right? Because you don't want an estimation on an estimation on an estimation. So in this case, in January of 2025, they were able to bring the meter in and get an actual read from that meter. You also had an actual read, I believe, from November of 2023, right? So from,
Let me interrupt you for a second. So the last time the meter worked was when? Like when it was actually giving readings, what year? Like when?
so in January of 2025, the meter was red. The
But
display,
before that, because she's been having this problem for a while. When was the last time you
the
got a
last
real read?
actual read is it November of 2023? It's 2023. So you have the actual read in 2023, and you have an actual read in January of 25. And from that, you can get consumption. You can't get the exact consumption monthly for, 2024, but from this time period, the consumption was what it is. From that, you can back bill for 1 month, and everything else has to be credited because we can only go back 1 month.
So all the other months since you got the last read,
She had a credit. She had a credit. She had additional monies that were billed that now are credited to her account.
If I might, Ms. Davis, in her preparation of the report, has prepared a spreadsheet. We provided that spreadsheet along with the report. It lists every bill throughout the entire time period, including showing where credits were received. We did an average each year for what the amounts were. We showed where bills were labeled as estimated and where they were not. We don't assume that all bills that are labeled as not estimated are in fact reader reads. That's proven to not be true in the past. But we've left that as however it was labeled. We note that in 2025, we show in January that the meter was replaced. Over the course of the remainder of 2025, bills have ranged from $180 to $3,000 a month. There have been wild disparities from month to month. That indicates a credibility issue with the meter readings since the meter's been replaced. Ms. Webster retained an electrician to come and inspect her place because it was told she may have a short or some other problem. That was not found. She did that at her expense. We believe she's been diligent. She's been responsive. She's provided information as much as possible. This has been open for 14, 15, 18 months, and she's due for resolution.
And can I add, even after the meter was replaced in January 2025, the meter didn't reflect on the customer's account until March 11, bill date, March 11, 2025. And that was an estimated reading. So even when the new meter it was not being read. Even when the new meter was reflected on the account, it was an estimated reading, followed by the bill date, April 3rd, 2025 bill, which was also an estimated reading. So when has the bill?
So does that indicate the new meter is not working?
The new meter has not been read.
It's not being read electronically. But it's
whether physically and electronically, we're still receiving estimated billing.
Yes,
what do you say about that?
There are many.
Yes, Commissioner Williams.
Question relative to this process. Once the staff provides us with their report and WAPA responds to it, it is in our purview to act on it one way or the other?
Yes. That's my intention, that the commission will make a decision today.
Okay, so I just want to ask you, as a procedurally, are we dealing with these complaints one individually, one at a time, or collectively? Because I think there are 4.
Yes, I intend to do them one at a time.
I want to make a motion.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I want to move that. Ms. Davis, what was the amount? What is the amount that is owed as a credit to the
$6,466.82.
So I move that amount be credited back to the customer. Miss, what's the customer's name?
Webster. The customer's name is Ms. Webster.
So my motion is to have the 6,000 plus, $6,466.82 be dollars either credited to, or if that was made, if that was paid, that amount be refunded to the customer. So move.
I second the motion.
Discussion? Roll call.
I had a question. Wanted to ask a question.
You want to have discussion on the motion?
I would like to have discussion on the motion. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Is WAPA prepared to read the meters for this client, for this customer?
Good afternoon, my name Francis. Yes, although we read meters, there will be periods where customers receive estimation. I also want to note that on the balance, there's a $3,000 balance on their account.
And then final question, has the customer made payments since the meter was installed?
Yes, she makes payment, but she doesn't make the full payment. That's why she has the 3,400 plus balance on her account.
In a customer's defense, how is she able to make the full payment when she's receiving estimated billings? What is she supposed to pay? Are we supposed to go back 43 months to tell her like $389.11 that she's making $400 payments?
The same argument can be used as to why she would get a $6,000 credit. That's the same argument could be used for that.
We're not gonna go there. There's the motion has been seconded, that discussion, any further discussion?
Yeah, I still have one more discussion. You're looking at estimating and I think that's the premise because it's an estimated bill and it's not read by the meter. WAPA, you need to go out and read the meters. That's all I'm saying, okay? And that's the point. Proceed with the.
Commissioner Gus?
Yeah, my question relates to the estimated billing. You stated that the estimated billing is based on the last meter reading. And why are estimated bills fluctuating, changing? If it's an estimated, it should remain the same.
Right, it's gonna be on the last two last bills. So that causes a change.
Why would it fluctuate?
Pardon me?
Why would the estimated reading change from billing to billing?
Because
if
you're
it's
using
based on a hard figure.
You're using the last two readings each time. So if you're 1,500 this month and then the next month it's 1,600, you're gonna do an estimate based on those two. And the figure is gonna change.
Why would the figures change from 1550?
Depending on the amount of days.
1580?
Yeah, because each bill doesn't have the same amount of days. So the days might change in the billing period, which causes the amount to change.
Like it's 28 months in February and 30, you know, maybe that's what it is.
Or your bill for 33. So
20 days.
You would have some kind of fluctuation.
I understand.
All right, roll call on the motion.
What's the motion?
The motion is to credit or refund the customer from their website $6,466.82.
Mr. Chair, before you go to the roll call, point of clarification. My motion stated either refund or credit. To clarify, so that we're sure what's going to happen. Did the customer pay that $6,000?
No, the customer did not.
How much has the customer paid?
Sending costs currently 2,100. I think I can answer that question rather quickly. I believe the balance on the bill is in the neighborhood of $2,100 at the moment. She's paid the other 4,000.
$2,738.35 is the balance to date.
The balance on the bill is $2,738.35.
Say that number again.
$2,738.35.
That is what is owed to the customer. I'm trying to.
No, that's what the customer bill from WAPA says. If you apply the $6,000 credit to that, $6,466.82. Then WAPA would owe her a refund of about $3,400.
Okay, but WAPA, for WAPA to refund it, it would have had to been paid, correct?
It was paid. Everything
Okay.
above the 2,700 was paid.
Okay, thank you. I'm good with the roll call now, Mr. Chair, for the refund.
On the motion to stay the same, that the WAPA will either refund or credit $6,466.82, correct?
That's correct.
That will not cause WAPA.
That's how much of a
Chairman
refund
Williams, or
you
Mr.
get,
Williams?
not based on.
That's not going to cause WAPA to issue a refund.
Okay, so we need to restate the motion to strike the word credit and only use the word refund.
Raymond, I think what you're trying to accomplish is to credit the account its current balance and provide the remainder of the 6,000 as a refund because those amounts have been paid.
Correct, absolutely. You want to restate the motion? To me.
Motion.
Now WAPA will issue a credit to the customer of $2,738.35 and refund the balance between $6,466.82 and $2,738.35.
Thank you.
All right, roll call.
Roll call. Commissioner McGrath.
Yes.
Commissioner Nicholson.
Yes.
Commissioner Raymond Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes.
Yes.
Commissioner Pedro Williams.
Abstain.
Mr. Chair, you have one abstention, 4 voting yea, the motion is carried.
Right, if I may, if that could be reduced to writing,
It will be.
okay, and signed.
What's the next case? Echo? Is that the correct name? How do you spell that?
EKPO.
EKPO. All right. Seeing the recommendation, WAPA, you don't have to read the entire statement. I'm sure 50% of it is the same as the prior one. Just give us a highlight as to what your objections are.
Respectfully, I would like to read the whole, so it's on the record.
No, well, you can submit the document for the record. Just give us the highlights. We don't have all afternoon.
Okay.
Well, let's start. What is the recommendation from the staff? What is Mr. or Ms. F? Is that you, sir? Okay.
Christopher and Lisa.
The basis for the recommendation is Sasha Davis, utility staff assistant. Basic. Okay, complaint staff recommends that WAPA issue a billing adjustment of $3,659.17, either as a credit or refund due to prolonged and excessive estimated billing. Basis for recommendation: after meter replacement, monthly bills decreased by over 60%. Usage patterns post-replacement support claims that prior estimated bills were inflated. WAPA has not provided sufficient evidence to justify the previously estimated charges. Staff recommends that WAPA be required to ensure the ECPO's meter is read regularly and not estimated moving forward to comply with the PSC billing regulations and prevent reoccurrence of inaccurate billing. The customer is also here and would like to speak.
All right, thank you. We'll get to you, sir. What's WAPA's response?
The highlights are, the ECHO established service in June 28, 2023. At that time, they had fluctuating usage with as low as 555 kilowatt hours and as high as 2,039 kilowatt hours per month. The billing during this period ranged from $239.55 to $884.62 per month. From November 2023 through April 2024, the account was billed using estimated readings based on the prior usage that was going up and down, fluctuating. With bills ranging from $727.69 to $801.59. We sent our revenue assurance team out on February the 5th to test the meter. Although
What year?
2024. Although the meter lacked the seal, there was no evidence of tampering or malfunction. We have the pictures, the revenue team got of the reading on that day as well. An actual reading was obtained for May 13, 2025, resulting in a credit of $842.73 to the account. In August 2024, the meter's LCD display failed, requiring estimated readings until January 2025. The meter was replaced in February, at which point a verified reading of 19,042 was obtained. We have the pictures of that reading as well. The customer is not due a further adjustment. During the estimated period, the ECHOs did not consistently pay their bills in full. While we acknowledge the challenges associated with estimated billing, this does not absolve the customer of their payment obligations. As a result, the account currently carries a balance of $4,116.15. Applying a further adjustment as requested would not fairly reflect the customer's documented usage based on the out reading prior to the period of estimations, the meter's performance, or the results of the field investigation and the verified readings that we have.
The 4,116.50 balance is of what date?
Last week, I think that was the 6th.
August 6th?
Of this year.
Oh. Mr. Echo, you wanted to be heard?
Yes, if you don't mind. Thank you guys for your time today. Do I need
Please,
to-
can you come forward a little bit? Raise your right hand to be sworn.
Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony and the evidence that you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Please state your full name.
Christopher Ekpo, EKPO.
Okay, speak up so we can hear you.
All right, no problem. Thank you guys for giving me the time to speak to you guys. I was given this information by Shasha from WAPA this morning, Ms. Davis, I'm sorry. It looks like WAPA provided this morning. I didn't get a chance to look over this this week, but it was fine. I wanted to fill in some of the blanks during this factual background because it looks like they conveniently omitted a lot of things that took place during this time. Mr. Anthony Vielle, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He is the meter reading supervisor. He confirmed to us that our meter was inaccurate and inconsistent during this entire estimated billing process. And that date was August 8th, 2024. Now, I started this entire process January 31st, 2024. I visited the Haven site location, spoke with Hazel Benjamin, also spoke with Sherelle Stapleton and the customer service supervisor, Sharice Burrows. I have a very long, detailed email chain ready to provide to anybody who wants it. I'm not saying this just to say this. This is all documented already.
Have you submitted that to the PSC?
PSC has everything. She did a phenomenal job summarizing everything. So everything she provided to you guys is simply everything that I've given to them. Going back to my first visit, I tried to attempt to get this resolved through the Haven site office. I did give one credit adjustment of $840 back in May 2024. Ever since that time, they made it very clear at that location that no further credits were going to be given, which prompted me to reach out to PSC for further assistance. As a consumer, as a customer, I didn't feel that WAPA in that moment was advocating on our behalf. It was almost as if we were being punished. We purchased our first home in St. Thomas, July 2023. We moved into this property. This property has been in existence since 1996. there's a gate that shows that WAPA has access already to the property. So there's no reason for them not to read our meters on a regular basis. If it's law, from what I'm hearing, for you guys to actually come to the property and read the meter, it wasn't being done. Over this 23-month period, there was 4 times they came out there, and I literally had to beg them each and every time to come to our property. It's 2025. I have a Ring camera. I can provide those videos where they actually came and when they didn't come, because they didn't come. If you look at this monthly bill, Attorney Springs said this in the previous matter. She did a great job showing you guys how much we were charged and what was also estimated. These bills fluctuated from $239 as high as $1,500. I don't run a small business. This is a single family home. Why am I receiving a bill for $1,500? Why am I receiving a bill for $1,000? Why am I receiving a bill for $987? And the majority of the time, all of these are estimates. So then now when you guys make a statement that during this estimation period, customers did not consistently pay their bills in full and carries a balance of $4,000. Your staff told us to not pay the full bills. We didn't wake up and say, we're not going to pay the full bills. I'm not here for a handout. I'm here, right is right, wrong is wrong. The meter was faulty. Your staff already told us this. We finally got a brand new meter, and thank God, ever since it's been reading correctly. I haven't had a reading past 400 since February. And here's the thing. They still haven't came to read my meter. I don't know how they're doing it, but they're reading it remotely. Nobody's came to my property after I've gotten a brand new meter. So if they have to manually or physically be there, they haven't. So I don't know if this may potentially become another issue, but I want to be on the record right now that ever since I got this brand new meter, it's been working perfectly fine, but nobody has read the meter in person. If they're supposed to do that, they need to start doing it. At this point,
Hold on, Commissioner Hughes.
Yes, sorry.
I'm sorry. I think I'm done for the moment, but I wanted to articulate that while this home purchase was amazing for us, this faulty meter has been a thorn in my side this entire time. And it only recently got resolved in February. So we've had some confidence in this brand new meter, but it was clearly stated the previous meter was faulty on several different occasions. And for you guys to tell me I'm responsible for a faulty meter, come on, guys, let's use our brains here. We're not looking for a handout. The meter was faulty. You guys communicated that to us on several different occasions. There's no reason why we are responsible for our current outstanding bill. We're not looking for handouts. We're not trying to dodge making any payments to anybody. That's not in our character. That's not who we are as individuals.
Thank you, Mr. Epco. Commissioner Hughes, you wanted to?
To the young man, you mentioned you got the new meter and you seem to have been very diligent in reading it yourself. You say WAPA has not been to the property, but they are asserting meter readings. Are their readings consistent with yours?
From what I've seen, yes, correct.
Okay,
so the ballpark, not spot on, but generally speaking.
So they're not really estimating, you're just getting a remote reading, which is great. That's what the MI system's supposed to do. Going back to the initiation of this account, there was some discussion of wildly fluctuating bills, like $200-300 one month and then $900,000 the next month, and 2,000 kilowatts versus 500 kilowatts. Were those, and this is a question for, I guess, the WAPA person, because she asserted the numbers. Were those readings estimated, or were they actual? Did you assert those as actual readings? The initial. Yes. So you're asserting that those initial readings that wildly fluctuated were actual readings, not estimates.
Yes. Good afternoon, Commissioner Hughes, and they were undisputed and paid.
Okay, well, that's remarkable because it is extraordinarily difficult in a residential property to increase your usage by that amount. That's just a remarkable fluctuation month to month.
Actually, I see quite.
Well, I imagine you do, and you've got meter problems to prove it. So thank you. Those are my only questions.
Commissioner Williams?
I guess, this seems to be consistent. I don't have any questions. I just think it shows a consistent pattern. And I wanted to highlight to the executive director that, clearly part of the issue here that we're
The
hearing.
executive director has left.
Yeah, I know this. But I'm saying that the attorney is here and the CFO is here, that, in terms of those readings, quote unquote, that are being done, they got to be careful that their meter readers are accurately reading meters as well, outside of just estimating them, because this is where these problems come in. No questions.
Commissioner Sams?
No.
Commissioner McGrath? Motion? I'm sorry. Senator Joseph?
See, I told you.
I got you.
Yeah. I am I am satisfied where I am. I wanted to ask Mr. Ekpo.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Were you aware that WAPA can also do meter reading remotely?
I became a believer when I got my first bill after the new meter.
So you're confident. I just want to make
Correct.
sure.
I'm on the record.
Okay, I'm just making sure that you're confident with your meter reading going forward, because your meter has been fixed.
Correct.
1, 2, and you know now that WAPA does have the capacity, because you've checked.
Correct.
Okay, to read your meter going forward remotely.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But still go ahead and monitor.
I know.
Okay, I'm not going to discourage you from doing that. Okay, that was my only issue. Let's get it rolling with the motion.
You leave it on your colleague, Senator Frederick?
You want to do it, not me. He's the chair.
Is he still there?
Yes, he's
Still
there.
on, but.
He's still on.
He had on two devices, I'm only one.
He's probably there. He was having some challenges. Opening up his.
Unless he chimes in, is there a motion?
What is the recommendation of staff specifically?
The recommendation is that the complaint staff recommends that WAPA issue a billing adjustment of $3,659.17, either as a credit or refund due to prolonged and excessive estimated billing.
What is the current balance on the account?
$4,116.15.
I move that the staff's recommendations be adopted.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I wanted to, and I should have jumped in immediately in the previous motion, that you should set a time frame for that credit to be given to Mr. Ekpo. And the previous complainant, Ms. Webster, because WAPA could take 5 years to give that credit. Put in some time frames. That would be my only recommendation.
Within 10 days. Who made the motion, Commissioner?
I made the motion. I'll take the friendly amendment. Thank you.
All right. Second. All right, roll call.
What is the time frame? We didn't set a time frame.
10 days.
Okay, both cases.
Roll call. Commissioner McGrath.
Yes.
Commissioner Nicholson.
Yes.
Commissioner Raymond Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes.
Yes.
Commissioner Pedro Williams.
Yes.
The chair, you have 5 votes in yea. The motion is carried unanimously.
Commissioner, if I may, a billing cycle is 30 days. So there's no way to do a credit in 10 days.
They won't see it.
You
They
have to
won't see it on the
do
bill until.
after billing
So should we
cycle.
just say on the
can
next
do the
billing
credit in
cycle?
10 days, but it'll be on the next billing cycle.
No, you could say.
So-
we're gonna-
Too many people are speaking at the same time for the record.
We can do the credit within 10 days, but it'll be on the next billing cycle.
That's
So for
fine.
example, if the next billing cycle is tomorrow and we do it in 10 days, it may not be in tomorrow's billing cycle. It depends where that billing cycle falls.
Give it a 10 days and it'll be reflected in the next billing cycle. All right, we're good.
Miss
Next one,
Kelly,
Leonard.
Miss Kelly, do you put dates on your accounting entries for credits?
Each of the forms that we have for a billing adjustment does have a date, and we
Okay.
have a, yes.
Then we have a means of verification. Thank you.
Yeah,
All
what
right.
was-
The Leonard matter, what is the staff's recommendation?
or we'll have to issue. The order has to issue.
Staff recommendation on Leonard?
The staff recommendation is from Mr. Echo.
Leonard.
Oh, Leonard, sorry. Give me 1 minute. Okay. The staff recommendation from Ms. Ruth Leonard. Complaint staff recommends that the commission order a full adjustment of $469.99 to eliminate the outstanding balance, either as a credit or refund.
What's the amount?
$469.99. The basis for a recommendation, Ms. Leonard has consistently claimed non-occupancy, which aligns her with her low water usage. WAPA has not disputed the vacancy or provided a final explanation for the original charges. Field visit confirmed meter inaccessibility. Without verified consumption data or timely explanation from WAPA, staff finds it reasonable and just to resolve the matter in Ms. Leonard's favor. Future meter reading requirement. Staff further recommends that WAPA ensure future water meter readings for the Charlotte apartments are regularly taken and not estimated, and that property access is maintained or properly documented in the event of inaccessibility.
What is WAPA's response?
Thank you. The customer's water account was estimated from October
Are we gonna
2024.
fight over $469.99?
Well, there's some facts that were stated that none of us can prove. One of them is occupancy. We cannot say whether the customer was in the unit or not. What I did is I looked at her electrical usage, and that was consistent. I didn't see it drop. I didn't see it escalate. It was consistent with what her normal usage would be, despite the customer saying they were not in the apartment. But for purpose of the water account, of course, I rely on the meter, as I've said previously. We have photos documenting the usage. We have photos documenting that we did visit the site and what it looked like in order to get the reading. It actually had to be, the dirt had to be dug out in order to access the meter. So there was a period of estimations due to inaccessibility. The PSC confirmed that, but an adjustment was applied on July 9th in the credit amount of $415.87, representing 11,510 gallons that we showed that was used on the meter. And we have pictures of that. Our revenue department visited the site June 24. And although we, like I said, we cannot say if it was vacant or not, they saw that the meter had advanced from 19,119 in 2023 to when they went out in 2024 to 23,489 gallons. We have the photo of that as well. So I believe that the analysis given doesn't take into account that either party cannot confirm if a customer is in the unit. And we rely on the meter, and I also took a look at the electrical account, which the consumption was very, very similar throughout this entire
So when
period.
they're normally there. There's somewhere.
That's what I assume. I can't confirm or deny, but looking at the electrical account and the water was estimated at 0. We did get a reading we did adjust it. I just think it's unfair now to actually say to adjust it again when I've looked at the electrical account and seen steady usage.
Okay, I have a question, because I know this person.
Hold on.
I'm sorry.
Let me just do it in order.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's
You're the chair.
It's not because of that. Commissioner Lima Williams, any questions or comments?
Yes, Ms. Summers, is there the potential for diversions in this matter? A potential diversion? Meter
Can't hear you
diversion.
right now.
We didn't detect
Potential for what?
diversion.
Meter diversion, somebody stealing the water, somebody else other than the resident.
There's always that potential, but our revenue assurance went out, and at the time they didn't detect any diversion.
Okay, thank you.
Our revenue team, they look for the gamut of things that could happen at a site, and they didn't detect any diversion.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yeah, ma'am, there was a period of prolonged estimation, buried meter in the dirt. I get that. You finally got a reading. Are you asserting the entire value of the water that meter reading? It's unclear to me what you're asserting as a bill. The entire amount between the two readings?
Yes, I am. The 19,000 to the 23,489.
Right. So we come back to this idea of following the law. My understanding is what you would do in that case is you'd go back and take the last 35 days, which
we did.
Well, which is it? You took the last 35 days or you took the entire amount?
We gave the credit consistent with Act 8297 of $415.87.
And in the last month, they used another $489 worth of water?
No, not in the last month. The period I was talking about was June 24, 2024, when the revenue assurance came out and took a look at the meter. And they saw that it had advanced despite the customer saying that they were not in the unit.
I understand that, but that's after a prolonged period of estimation, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so again, the law says you cannot back bill. And your process seems to have built into it this idea that you're going to take your readings, assume they're correct, and back bill for them. And I don't understand why we think that that's legal. Maybe you should be able to average out the monthly usage and apply it to the most recent month, but that would be the most liberal reading of the law. This idea that you're going to just use a reconciliation process and still recover the full amount is another way to say you're back billing the customer. I don't see how that's legal.
Well, if I may, and not that I'm saying that was done here, but Commissioner Hughes, Commissioner Hughes, the provision within the statute has several exemptions. One of the exemptions is for inaccessible meters. So if a meter is buried, if your gate is locked and we somehow don't have access, if there's a dog in the yard, etc., those are all instances where you are permitted then to go beyond the 30 days.
This was not one of those, was it?
But I'm sorry, I can't. I'm sorry.
This was not one of those exemptions, was it?
It was a buried meter.
That's not really the customer's fault, I don't think. You guys you weren't trying to read it and you didn't know it was buried. I mean,
I think that's true, because I know the site very well.
I mean, I understand the other exemptions they make. Someone locks you out, that's fair. Someone doesn't give you gate access, that's fair. Someone actually has a dog, not just your people say they have a dog like they did with me for 9 months. That's fair. This isn't that case. This is just you guys back billing a customer on old estimates. And I don't see how that's legal.
But then we adjusted that amount.
You did not.
Yes, we adjusted it by $415.87.
It
may be in the future, we can get a system that can automatically do it so the customer doesn't get the shock of the high bill.
Here's a system.
Once we recognize that there is a bill that requires that adjustment, we do adjust the bill. And this has happened at this location by Ms. Leonard not being able to read the meter, Ms. Leonard saying she's not there, and the electrical usage says different.
Here's a system. You get to bill for the last 35 days because that's what the law says. That's a system.
So that's what we do when we do the adjustment.
All right, guys, we're not gonna go back and forth on that issue. Any other questions, Commissioner Hughes?
No, thank you.
All right, Commissioner Stamps?
Why is the meter buried? Did somebody actually bury it, or is it just over time erosion? Is that the case?
This is what the digging out of to get to the reading
Okay,
looks like.
why was it buried? Was it just natural erosion?
Yeah.
Whose responsibility is it to keep that meter? Is that WAPA's responsibility?
No, actually, homeowners are, under the law, supposed to keep access in the premises surrounding the utilities infrastructure clear.
Okay, so the
reading-
owners are responsible for making sure that meter is not
It's
buried.
not buried or inaccessible.
When you all did this whole credit thing, or when the complaint happened, did you just go back to 30 days? Or did you go back for a longer period?
Just consistent with Act 8297.
I can't hear you.
Just consistent with Act 8297. All of our adjustments are done pursuant to the act, what the law requires.
So you only bill her for the 35
Right.
days, not what happened before then?
No, we eat that amount.
Or what did I say, 90?
35.
Oh, I said 30,
30
okay, I'm
days.
sorry, let me clear it up,
35.
35 days, okay.
It's supposed to be
That's-
30.
I think Attorney Sinclair established that it's 30 days,
One
correct?
billing cycle.
All right.
Okay, that's all I have next.
Commissioner McGrath?
Yeah, just one question. During the period that you were checking the electrical bills against, and you said it remained pretty steady. Is it consistent with current readings, as if someone is living there now?
It's her usage is very low, very, very low, but it's been consistent throughout that period.
No, I'm saying she said she was not there. So I'm wondering if the period that you looked at was a period when she was not there, so her electrical.
I looked from the beginning of the account to when it was terminated in
Oh, okay.
June. I looked
And
through
it's
the
pretty
whole
good.
gamut,
Okay.
and it's, yeah.
Senator Joseph?
I was very much patient. I know this area, I know this complainant very well. I go up by her home a number of occasions. She is not a homeowner. So whatever the owner of that structure is the Virgin Islands Housing Finance Authority. And they would be the entity that would be responsible for clearing out that area so you could read the meter. This is a 79-year-old lady who is making 80 next month. So I'm very familiar with Ms. Ruth Leonard.
So you've been by her home?
Many a times.
When?
Okay,
Hold
on, stop. Let's ask the questions relevant to the issue before us, please.
Right, so I know Ms. Ruth Leonard, and I know of the times that she was not in her home. Okay, because I've had to go pick her up from the other place, and she has since, I think it's May, vacated. I just wanted to follow up on that. So I don't see how it's going to be her responsibility, since Attorney Sinclair mentioned that the homeowner, she's not a homeowner in that estate. That responsibility lies with the Virgin Islands Housing Finance Authority, and Ms. Ruth Leonard is not the homeowner. To clear that so you could have access to it. The other thing is, there was period of time that she wasn't there. You're saying, based on the question that was answered by to Commissioner McGrath, that you see a low electrical usage, right? That could be attributed to her having her refrigerator on, but she is not in the unit. Okay, that's what it is. She's not in the unit living there. So there's something, did you check at any time her, to see if the meter itself was operating properly? You did your quality control?
Yes, we have pictures.
Okay, so you went in there, did your quality control and see that the meter is operable?
Right.
Well, something else must be happening there, which I am not sure of, but I am very familiar with this company, very.
Thank you so much.
All right. Senator, Frederick? We assume he's gone. All right, is there a motion?
Ms. Gums has her hand up.
Ms. Gums?
Yes, I wanted to put on the record, though a meter may be inaccessible, the customer needs to be notified. We can't continue to just dismiss the fact that the meter can't be read. WAPA needs to put a system in place so that they would be able to notify the customer or the landlord, in the case of Ms. Ruth Leonard, that the meter is inaccessible. Had that meter been read on a monthly basis, we would have known that it was not accessible, and the customer or the landlord should have been notified to prevent the issue from continuing.
Please identify who's speaking.
So Sean Hendricks, Assistant Executive Director, speaking from St. Croix.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Sean. Ms. Hendricks. Motion? Motion?
I move that staff's recommendation be adopted for, I don't know if it'll be refund or credit, depends on whether or not the client paid the bill. Did the client pay the bill?
$469.99?
Still outstanding?
Yes.
Then I move that the amount be credited to the customer's account. So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
What time frame?
Same 10-day time frame. Roll call.
Roll call, Commissioner McGrath,
Yes.
Commissioner Nichols Sam.
Yes.
Commissioner Raymond Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Pedro Williams.
Abstain.
Mr. Chair, you have 4 voting yea, 1 abstention, the motion is carried.
All right, last matter, who's that, Boston? Did I get it right? All right, what's the staff recommendation?
The staff further recommends that the commission order WAPA to install the required bi-directional net billing meter at Mr. Bostic's property within 20 days of the commission's order. Basis for recommendation, the delay in net metering activation has persisted for 39 months since DPNR inspection and over 11 months since complaint has been pending before the PSC. The customer has met all known requirements. WAPA has acknowledged the lack of meter availability, but has not provided a resolution timeline. The customer has demonstrated power exports and negative balances consistent with energy production. These actions are necessary to ensure that Mr. Bostic receives equitable access to the net billing program and that public utility customer service standards are upheld.
Wafa, you want to respond, or you just want to agree to install a meter in 20 days?
With the, with the Bostic, I do agree that the process has been lengthy. Our new director of the Energize, he is looking into this matter to see how quickly we can get the customer on the program. We have found out recently that there is a glitch in the database in MyGov, via Energy's office, and it's preventing the process the way it should. Mr. Walden is working on that, and once that's resolved, along with our internal design team, verifying what's on the field, Mr. Bostic will be made whole. It's our intention to do so as soon as possible.
So we're going to assist Mr. Warren and the staff by giving them 20 days to get it done. Is there a motion to that effect?
Commissioner Hughes has his hand raised.
20 days. Commissioner Hughes?
Yeah, I think we've got a real opportunity here to clear the deck on a lot of these, because this is a great example and a great resolution. You can imagine how I'm going to vote on the motion. These systems, these net billing systems are almost all either Enphase or Tesla app-based, and they have very reliable export information associated with them. problem has always been that a customer makes a perfectly good faith application to the net billing program. It sits there, it tends to sit there for a long time because WAPA doesn't respond to it, but at some point they at least get into the DEC process and they get an electrical permit issued, and essentially they're done with what they were supposed to do. WAPA then doesn't respond, either because they don't have meters or they don't have people to install meters. But in the meantime, the clock's ticking on this customer who legally should be able to export his power and get paid. In this case, I think it's a great example of what can be done. I don't really care how long it takes WAPA to install the meter. I care that the customer gets credit for the power that he's sending to them in the interim, and it's easily verifiable. So I think that this is a great model to offer to our staff, which is to say that a customer that has achieved his electrical final permit for net billing systems and has made a good faith application in the program should be able to approach the PSC and have a adjustment made to his bill to the extent that he can demonstrate export to WAPA. It's as simple as that. At some point, WAPA will install the meters and the customer won't have to take that extra step because there'll be a meter that actually meters the export. But in the interim, we have a solution. The customer can demonstrate his export. He should approach the PSC, and the PSC should automatically order adjustments to the customer's account based on demonstrated export through one of the accepted apps. I'll be happy to make the motion that that is what should occur in this case as well, if no one else wants to discuss that.
All right, go ahead.
I move that that WAPA be ordered to install the meter in 20 days. And without respect to that an amount adjustment to the customer's account be made in the full amount to accommodate the export demonstrated to the WAPA system.
It's been moved and seconded by Commissioner Hughes and Commissioner McGrath. Roll call.
Roll call. Commissioner McGrath.
Yes.
Commissioner Nicholson.
Yes.
Commissioner Raymond Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes.
Yes.
Commissioner Pedro Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 5 voting yea. The motion is carried unanimously.
All right, thank you, Walker, for your contribution. Is there anything else on that docket 672? They want to talk about my meter in?
May I make a comment? Yeah, Lorraine Kelly.
You coming in on this issue or something else?
I'd like to make a comment in regards to all the different customer complaints that come to us. If I may just make one brief comment.
Sure.
We at WAPA, we fully recognize that there has been issues. At WAPA, we fully recognize that there have been issues. I would like to give the Commission a very brief update. We have installed approximately 6,000 meters since about October of last year. And in addition to that, when I came to the authority, I recognized a very significant amount of overestimating, and Commissioner Hughes has mentioned also that there were long-standing customers that had had multiple months, some in excess of a year, that were estimated. I would like to report that our latest monthly statement has shown that despite the fact that we had estimations in the 30% range and about 3-4 months ago in the 20% range, our most recent report has shown that our estimate billings were 18.7%. That is still too much and too high, but we are making strides to make improvements there. And I do want to let you know that we are in the process of making another order for more meters and taking some additional steps. So while we're not where we want to be, I do want to recognize that we understand that this is a consistent issue for our customers. We're trying to resolve it, and we're taking great strides. We're not where we need to be, but we are improving, and we will get to a very low percentage.
I think.
How many bi-directional meters
We
were
actually
ordered
ordered
and
500. We ordered 500 bi-directional meters.
installed?
I don't specifically have the details of the 6,000, how many were bi-directional, but by end of day tomorrow, I should be able to get you that. I apologize, I don't have that number off the top of my head.
So you have 500 by direction?
We ordered 500, and they came in approximately March or April timeframe, and I can get you the specifics as to how many we have installed.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Curley, how many disconnections does WAPA do in a month in a 30-day cycle?
We do approximately 250 a month when we're doing electric and water. No, 250 a day. Monday through Thursday. In both districts. So St. Thomas, St. John would be 250, St. Croix would be approximately 250. And it's for those, I guess, 16 days. So I didn't do the math, but it's that.
So 250 and
500 a day.
500. I'm sorry?
500 a day. 250 in St. Thomas.
1,500 a month.
2,000
Monday to Thursday.
Monday through Thursday.
2,000 a month.
2,000 a month?
I'm sorry,
We only do it 4 days.
2,000 a week,
Disconnecting service.
so 8,000 a month.
Yeah, approximately, because it would vary depending on repayment.
That would be a little over 10% of your customers.
I'm sorry, was the question for disconnects? We're disconnecting 8,000 people a month?
Yes, the disconnections print approximately 8,000 customers a month. Not all the customers are disconnected because they make a payment before we actually execute.
And the great majority of those are for non-payment, not just because someone wants to cancel their account, right?
Okay, non-payment.
Okay. Wow.
I just want to clarify.
That's remarkable.
Go ahead, Attorney Smith.
I just understood the statement from Ms. Francis that not all of those are disconnections. Is it 8,000 disconnection notices are sent out?
Notices, yes.
How many are actually disconnected?
I would have to get that number for you, because it varies from day to day.
That
So we
would be
print
a-
about 8,000 notices.
And what is the reconnection charge?
$25.
Both water and electricity?
Water and electric.
All right, thank you very much.
Chair, before we close the docket item, Ms. Hendricks was going to give us some statistics on the amount of complaints we had opened and closed of that. Did we get those numbers?
I was able to get how much we closed from January to July. That's a total of 19. I will have to do a separate report to give you for 2024. That was the second part of the question.
But you said they were like 189 opened and we only closed 19?
That's correct. Between January and July, we were able to resolve a total of 19.
Thank you, Chair.
All right. Next item, docket 692.
Mr. Chair.
Advanced Sustainable Technology. Limited. PSC.
Excuse me, Chair, are we gonna do the AMI update?
Yes, Mr. Chair, that's what I was gonna ask.
I asked earlier, nobody said anything.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Chair, before we go there, I just want to extend a little courtesy to our vendor. Do we think we're going to get to Mr. Loranger today? Or can we table that until the next meeting?
I was hoping we'll table the next 3 items.
He's been, okay, because he's been waiting for hours and he's got a father apparently at death's door. So he's at a hospital right now. He's just asking if we can push this. Can I tell him that we will?
Next time, tell him he needs to talk to me as the executive director.
Okay.
Is it the pleasure of the commission that we table the other 3 items?
So moved.
All right, thank you. Acclamation. So we'll consider this our last item for today. Oh, Attorney Sinclair, for the record, I've noticed that a lot of your documents on your certificate of service, you need to correct that. Your staff continues to refer to Mr. Torres interim executive director. Please make sure that that's corrected for future filings. Thank you. All right. Proceed on the AMI update.
I agree with
Afternoon, Julius Bain, Chief Information Officer, Virgin Islands Water and Power Authority.
No, you spoke too fast.
Sorry.
You need to be sworn and you need to be slow so that we can understand your name and what you're testifying to.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony and the evidence that you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. Please state your name, full name for the record.
Hi, good afternoon. Julius O'Bain, Chief Information Officer, Virgin Islands Water and Power Authority. I'm here to give I'll keep it quick, update on the current implementation of the recreation AMI system. I'll run through a couple of highlights. We have finished the negotiations with the vendor for the AMI system with Itron. We are currently just waiting to sign contract on their side. Hopefully, we will have that this week. So it's just pending signature, so we can begin the project. We have signed our contract with O'Brien for project management for that, to assist us with that project. We have 2 contracts that we have been approved by the board that's just waiting to be processed or waiting execution. 2 addendums to existing contracts with Hogland, one for the pool installation in St. Croix, one for the pool installation in the St. Thomas St. John district. We have same thing as we have an addendum approved by the board pending execution for Trident pools for the pools that will be used for the AMI system. And we also have a similar item with Barclay Technologies, an addendum approved by the board pending execution for Barclay to do, they do the design engineering for the installations of composite pools. We have some small odds and ends that we are going to start to procure now that we are about to sign the contract, including ring seals, meter farm. Those will be done under purchase order. And then we have 2 scopes of work that are pending with our MDM, which is our meter database management system, which is SmartWorks, and our CIS system, Central Square. Those scopes are being finalized now. And that's basically the status of where we are with the AMI project in itself.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Commissioner Hughes, questions?
Yeah, Mr. O'Bain, how does this roll out now? Does it go, you know, pick like one island first, or just throw everything at it? How's the project roll out?
So the project rollout, we will do a pilot on St. John, or I don't want to say pilot, but the testing will be done on St. John. So we will install the network on St. John first. We will install all the meters in St. John. And once the install of the meters is completed in St. John, we will stop deployment for a month to do a system acceptance testing, initial system acceptance testing, which will allow us to ensure that all the data is being moved correctly, all the data are working as designed. And then after that, we have not finalized whether we will go to St. Thomas individually or St. Croix or do both. That'll be done once we finish the final plan after the contract is signed. But we will definitely be doing a St. John first to test everything, make sure all the communications are working, the interfaces are working, and those things.
Anything of the existing system remain when you're all done with this?
Nope.
All the meters are gone. Just
all the meters are gone. All the meters are gone. All the collectors are gone. All the base stations are gone. The Itron system that we're replacing with does not use base stations. They use individual collectors.
So is this system?
So no tower sites. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sitting up in New York, and we had a perfectly functional AMI system that was cellular based. I'm sorry, I think it was radio based, and then they flew in here and made it cellular based so that the meters can talk like a cell phone. What system are we getting? Radio based or cellular based?
So it's a combination of the collectors, for lack of a better word, the base. Those will be cellular based. Or actually a better term is IP based. So whether it's a cellular modem, a connection to the internet, there may be coverage issues. We may decide that we go with a connection through our existing network with NGN. So it's an IP based system is what it was. And then it talks to the meters via RF, which is radio.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Mr. Williams?
No questions.
Mr. Stamps?
Hi, thank you. So when you do this update on St. John initially, you know, you replace these on St. John, and then there's going to be testing involved to make sure the system's working properly. And we won't have the old system. What happens to the history that's in that system? Because we already have several issues with people's meters right now. If that history is wiped away, I don't know.
Okay, so there's a few things that will happen. So we'll have the system, the information in our CIS, that's not changing. The CIS is staying the same for now. The meter database management system, although we are spinning up a new one until the end of the project, we will be keeping the old one, and before we decommission it, we'll keep a backup of that.
Okay, so we're maintaining the old system, the old history
Yes,
of the
but
system.
we're not
But when
importing
you,
it into the
let me
new
just make
system.
sure this is right in my brain.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, no, it's okay. We're maintaining the old system with the history in it. You're gonna install the new ones. That's gonna be a separate system until you are sure that everything is functioning properly.
Yes.
You won't, what will happen to the history? Is it gonna be attached to that, or how?
It's not gonna be attached, it's gonna be completely separate, but we will keep a backup of that system. So it'll sit side by side until the project is done, and once we're done, we'll decommission the old one completely. But
Okay.
we will keep the export of that, a backup of that.
And will we be able to access that history? Because we're talking about issues that go way back. So the history is really
So
important.
there's two different systems. So in the CIS, in Central Square, which is our CIS system, that's not being touched. That history will be there until forever and ever, until we're no longer.
Access
Yes.
with the
No,
new
that's
system.
still live, yes.
Okay.
So the billing system will have the whole information in there.
Okay.
That's not changing.
And I think the question that Dave said, it's the data is going to be transferred via like
So
the internet or like.
yeah, basically it's a cellular connection at that point. Right now, most of them are cellular. Sorry. And then I think there's 3 or 4 that will be IP based that sit on our, like one of our substations, for example.
Okay.
But it's all network IP based.
Okay.
So whether it's a cellular network or a physical network.
Thank you.
Chairman Williams, St. Croix has their hand up.
Okay, so
Is that a new meter?
This is an old meter, and
That's an old meter?
yeah, I have, when we finish the line of question, I have.
As a new meter address all the conspiracy theories?
And that's why I brought this meter forward.
Tell us about that, please.
Okay, so I will take apart the meter for us today. Our current meter. And what I'm doing is I am removing the communication module. This is the issue that we had, the problem that we had. The Itron meter still functions, and I think Ms. Francis mentioned that we can take it back to the office and get a read for it. The metrology, or what does the readings, is still on the meter portion. This portion we have not had any problems with. There is some misinformation going around that we went and we chose the same vendor. We did not. It's a completely separate vendor. Our initial contract was with the communication vendor that made the communication modules, and they will put modules in an Itron meter. This could have been a Landis+Gyr meter, could have been a census meter. So they actually are meter. They don't make meters. They make communication systems. So now what we're doing is we're going with Itron with the singular vendor is doing the meter, the communication, everything in one. And I just wanted to break it apart so people can understand that it's 2 completely separate components. And no, we don't have any of the new meters yet. We have to sign the contract first, and meters need to go in production.
But what about these emissions that people are talking about?
Emissions as far as what, radio emissions? No different from your cell phone, your microwave, and everything electronic.
So it's no greater than that?
No.
Julius, is that meter field adjustable by a tech? Can he go out, put a cable on it and maybe change power factor or something that would make it read differently?
As far as, for example, if you want to check like CT ratios and things like that, you mean?
Is there any potential that field personnel could alter a meter in such a way that either overreads or underreads actual power?
No, that's the metrology board that's built into the meter that reads it.
Okay, well, that was I mean, it's old technology, but that was a huge problem in Puerto Rico. There was a $600 million fraud case based on that.
I will also mention that Puerto Rico is also going with this exact same system.
Okay, good, thanks.
Commissioner Williams, you had a question or comment?
No questions.
Senator Joseph?
You didn't? Okay, in my understanding, Mr. Urbane, you're going to start to use the model. St. John is going to be your model for your installation of these meters?
Yes.
Okay, and you haven't signed off and executed a contract.
I'm waiting patiently.
Okay, so I'm huge on timeframes because if you don't set timeframes, it doesn't happen. When are you looking at actually getting this contract executed and contract executed? I'm not going to ask you the cost because I don't know if you're still in negotiation and I don't want it to be out
No,
there.
I mean, that was public information. We already have.
Okay, so you already negotiated it. How much is it going to cost, WAPA?
The contract is set right now not to exceed 30,311,000.
30 million?
Yep.
And what funding source are you using?
It's federal, prudent replacement.
It's FEMA?
Yes.
FEMA?
Okay.
Yes.
30 million. Okay.
311,132.
Let me just say 30.1.
30.3.
What?
30.3.
30.3. Thank you.
Okay, so, and to be clear, though, that's for the ITRON system itself. We have items, for example, we have to install the poles. We're responsible for purchasing the poles for that. So we do the make ready. Yeah.
Okay, but you have poles, are these?
No, we are doing separate poles for our collectors so that the system is hardened. That way you don't have transformers, you don't have primary lines. The poles for these collectors will be a single pole, the collector, and that's it, and the connection for the secondary for it.
Okay.
That way, in the event, we're trying to harden the system so that when a storm comes through, it's easy. We don't lose the collectors, and we can just once we restore power to them, we can start to get data right away where we're able to, see restoration in real time.
Okay.
So your point is it's going to cost WAPA more than $30.3 million to complete this installation.
Yes.
How much more are we talking about?
Right now, with all the contracts that we have approved, it's at 43.5. And we still have, as I said, we have we have to buy meter rings, meter seals, and those things. I don't have that cost built in yet. And then the two major things that's outstanding is the scopes of work for the interfaces.
Okay, so since it's my time, when do you think that you're going to be able to give us the full picture that you need to be able to start the implementation and install these meters?
After we sign the contract, the first thing we're going to do is define the full schedule of that.
When is the estimated time, attorney?
For the contract signing?
Yes.
We are hoping for this week, if not next week.
As I said, it's with them already. We've already signed off for legal sufficiency, just walking through their internal process.
Okay, and then how long you think, did they give you a time limit, a time frame for you to get these new meters?
That's all. So we have to go through several things before we start to install meters. The first thing we have to do is do the interfaces for the systems. So we have to define a meter program. We have to make sure that when we.
Okay, I don't want to really take a long time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I'm gonna just put on my project management hat. Do you have a project timelines, a project schedule in handling this major?
Yes, we do have
turnover for WAPA, this major project that is based on you actually being able to comply with law in conducting actual readings, not estimating.
Okay, so I'll start off and say for the record, the contract is a 4-year contract. That includes some time on the back end for monitoring the system and tweaking the system. So what we'll do the interfaces first to make sure that we can move the data. We'll do the test in St. John. And then after that, I think it's somewhere between a 12 and 18 month.
Okay, so when I manage, hold up, it's my time, please, right? When you're managing multi-million-dollar contracts, which this is, and I have managed more money than this in a contract, okay? You should have a project schedule that have definitive time, that have timelines associated. I know things can move, right?
We have,
But
I
if-
can provide you the schedule.
So
if that
kindly
would help.
supply it to the chairperson, or to the staff, with the timeline. I don't need to
One
get into
caveat,
the weeds.
one caveat.
Mhm.
This is not the finalized timeline because that will be finalized once we sign the contract.
I know that.
Okay.
Okay.
So this was
I-
a proposal.
That's a proposed
Yes.
timeline, but we also may need to see the contract to get the finalized project schedule. I sense that the commission is trying to hold WAPA accountable with the action it's taken today and to assure that we are moving forward. And so in order to hold you accountable and to monitor you and regulate you as they're supposed to do, we're gonna need to see that. Okay?
Thank you, Senator Joseph. I'm sorry,
St. Croix, how's that handling?
St. Croix?
Yes, I wanted to put on record, the delay of this particular project is impacting the customers of St. John specifically. We've noticed an increase of complaints regarding estimations on the island of St. John.
All right, thank you, Ms. Andrews. All right, that concludes your testimony. Thank you, Walker, for your presentation. Appreciate it. We apologize. The next three items on the agenda has been a long day. We didn't get to you, but we'll put you on the next agenda. Hopefully your project will move a step further by then. Are there any other? When's the next meeting, the second Tuesday in September?
It would be, September 9th.
September 9th. Okay. Any other comments from any of the commissioners? If not, this meeting is
I'm
adjourned.
not gonna be available on September 9th.
Oh, neither will I.
You're not gonna be available on September 9th. Yeah. And I'm going to be with my stuff.
Who gets this today? You know, somebody-
I'll give them to.
Go, Laura.